Okay, folks, welcome to another deep dive. We've got some pretty juicy stuff to unpack today.
Yeah, this one's a doozy.
So we're going deep on this excerpt that's been making the rounds online.
Right.
It's called Pasted Text. And let me tell you, it's got some pretty wild claims about
Yeah.
Jay-Z and Beyoncé.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Elon Musk let slip that Jay-Z spent an insane amount of money
Oh,
to
yeah.
make sure Beyoncé's music just dominated the charts.
A lot of money.
But here's the kicker, and this is where it gets really weird.
Okay.
He claims Jay-Z was specifically aiming for a Best Country Album win for Beyoncé.
Wow.
I mean, country music Beyoncé, it's not exactly what comes to mind.
Right.
So the excerpt actually throws out some hard numbers,
Okay.
like $20 million just on general radio play,
Just radio play.
another $40 million targeting country radio specifically.
Wow.
And hold on to your hats, because this is the big one. A whopping $110 million on downloads. $110 million. Just think about that for a second. That's like the entire marketing budget for a blockbuster movie.
That's unbelievable.
It's a pretty massive gamble for a single album, don't you think?
It is. I mean, even for someone like Jay-Z, that is a lot of money to put on the line.
So what do you think? Is it even remotely plausible? Like, could someone actually spend their way to a Grammy win?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
More like the $110 million question.
Uh-huh, exactly. It's definitely not unheard of for artists to invest heavily in marketing and promotion.
Sure, but
I mean, we all know that the music industry can be a pretty cutthroat business.
no doubt.
But to spend that kind of money with a specific Grammy in mind, that's,
Bold.
yeah.
Okay, so let's break this down for a second.
Right.
From a purely musical standpoint, does Beyoncé even have a country album? Like, when did this happen?
Well, that's what makes this whole thing so intriguing.
Right.
There's no mention in the excerpt of a specific album,
Well,
or even a year when this supposed campaign took place. It's all very vague.
so we're just left to speculate.
Pretty much.
I mean, maybe Jay-Z is secretly a huge country music fan.
Maybe.
Or maybe this is all part of some master plan for Beyoncé to, like, conquer every genre.
You know, it's funny you should say that because genre crossover is not a new concept.
Right.
I mean, we've seen artists successfully dip their toes into different musical worlds before.
True.
Remember when Taylor Swift went full pop?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Jay-Z saw a similar opportunity for Beyoncé to, tap into a new audience, shake things up a bit.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Who knows? Maybe he saw some untapped potential there.
But to actually win a Best Country Album Grammy, wouldn't Beyoncé's music have to, like, sound country?
Well, yeah,
What even defines a Best Country Album these days?
that's a good question.
Like, is there some secret formula?
Well, the Grammys do have specific criteria, of course,
Okay.
for Best Country Album. The majority of the tracks have to be country in style.
Makes sense.
Vocals and instrumentation play a key role, but there's also room for interpretation and evolution within the genre.
Right.
Collaborations and thematic elements can blur the lines a bit.
So, hypothetically, if Beyoncé, like, collaborated with a big country star
Right.
or incorporated some classic country elements into her music,
Exactly.
that could potentially qualify her for the award.
It's possible.
Wow.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a genre-bending album snag a Grammy nomination.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't underestimate the power of, like, strategic marketing and maybe a little bit of genre bending.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's be real for a second here.
Right.
This whole story hinges on claims attributed to Elon Musk.
Right.
And while he's a fascinating guy and obviously brilliant,
He is.
I'm not sure he's the ultimate authority on the inner workings of the music industry.
That's fair.
So should we be taking all of this with a grain of salt?
I think it's always a good idea to approach extraordinary claims with a healthy dose of skepticism. This excerpt throws out some juicy details,
For sure.
but it also leaves a lot of unanswered questions.
Like a ton.
We don't have specifics about which album or year.
Right.
It's all very vague.
So what's the takeaway here?
I think this whole thing highlights a really crucial point about the music industry.
It's that.
And really any industry for that matter. Information is power.
True.
And how we interpret and analyze that information is key.
Hmm.
We should always strive to be informed consumers,
Right.
to question what we read and hear, especially when it comes to claims that seem too good to be true.
Yeah. Or too crazy to be true.
Exactly.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given us a lot to chew on.
It has.
So for all our listeners out there, here's a final thought. If this level of strategic maneuvering is happening behind the scenes, what does it say about the relationship between money and artistic recognition? Is it all just a game? Hit us up on social media with your thoughts, and until next time, keep on diving.